Alright, hello and welcome to the Postgrad here. Today we're going to be talking about the Commonplace book. My version's a binder, but we're going to be talking about titles on YouTube. This is what we're going to be looking at today. So basically the way it's going to work is I'm going to go through the left-hand side, talk about all the keywords, just going to say them name by name, talk about the stuff at the top, talk about the stuff at the bottom, and that'll be it. So we're looking at Commonplace book entries. The main categories or subcategories are starting, other languages, new, my, and other. So other isn't really anything, it's just whatever I put at the bottom and don't talk about because it sucks, or at least it sucks at getting views. Yeah, so let's start at the top. 14 items, which is quite low, and that is why we are at pretty much the end of this. Because normally it should have at least 20, otherwise the data will not be very good. The main things are starting, other languages, new, my, and other, which I think I just said. I'm sorry, there's a lot of weird random noise going on in the background in the hallway and other rooms, and I can see the light moving under the door, and it's kind of freaking me out. So we're going to try to get through this, but if I repeat something, that's probably why. So 14 items and entries now, 15 in future, 13. Don't think I wrote the top correctly. Basically, I do the work digitally. After all, I did collect the data, then I categorized it, and I was sorting it, and, stuff turns around a little bit weird. Deleted number 451 for the thumbnail being a full wall of digital text on a random background with the title as ZA. So if that's you, you know who you are. I might have written it incorrectly, it might be 2A, but the main point is 451 out of 470, not exactly the thing raking in the views. So now we're going to move on to the subfolder, or the subfolders. For one, or the first one, that's starting. There's one item. It looks clean. Focus on book, torn tan piece of paper edited on top with white writing. So that's good. So that's basically Commonplace book entries starting, or Commonplace book starting entries, or starting Commonplace book entries. You can move the titles around in whatever ways you want. I should have said you can move the words around to form the title in whatever way you want. But regardless, when it comes to Commonplace book entries, starting is considered the most important thing, or at least the most clickable thing. Second is other languages. Now, for other languages, that could be Spanish, French, Portuguese, or something else, but it's almost always Portuguese. There was only one item, and it's a person who looks like they're person who looks like they're taking notes, and an edited question next to them. That's kind of weird. It's in another language. I don't really know what's going on there. Could just be that there's basically nothing in that language, and the person just clicked on it because it's like, oh, that's my language, which is cool. But seeing that as number 2 is never a good sign, because it means, there's basically nothing in this action. Third is new. That one has 5 items. So the fact that there are 14 items, we just looked at 2 of them, and now there are 5, means anything beyond this probably sucks. You should probably avoid it. But anyways, number 3 is new, 5 items. 3 all done by one person, other 2 include a book, which isn't the focal point. Yeah, so it looks like one person is doing a very medium job, and the other 2 were not so good. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. You could have new entries in your Commonplace book. Not very interesting, but theoretically somebody could click on it and they'd be like, yeah, that's okay. But it's not really as exciting as starting. It's like, how did you start your entries? What are you starting to do with your entries? Maybe you're doing something else. If it's in another language, it's like, okay, that's my language, or I've never seen it in that language before. That actually has some value. But new, it's just kind of like, it's very medium. Which makes sense, because there are 5 subcategories. So the one in the middle should be and the ones below that should be not so great. So the next one is my. So I guess nobody wants to hear about my entries, or, whoever's labeling their entries as their own. There are a bunch of reasons for that, but basically, unless I was interested in all the work of a specific person, why would I be clicking on their personal entries? That's like reading through someone's journal or diary. That doesn't really make sense. Especially because entries makes it sound like something they could have done in the past or something they might do in the future, but not necessarily explained in great detail compared to other words somebody might use. So for number 4, we've got my 5 items. The shortest is 8 minutes. That's another problem. They take forever. All done by 2 channels. One focuses on wood under 1 to 3 objects. The other on a book with text covering the book and screen. So I don't know about you, but I would also agree with the order. The wood under 1 to 3 objects, a book placed on the floor or a desk or something else, is a little bit more interesting than a book with a bunch of random text covering it, because I actually know what I'm looking at, and there are not really any surprises other than, the anticipation. And category 5 is other, with only 1 item. So that's the thing we're basically ignoring. That's the end of the video. So thank you for watching. Sorry for my voice. I don't really know what's going on. But I believe we have 1 or 2 videos left to record today. So I'll probably sound like this in the next video. Thanks. Bye.